Yellow. Yellow, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Summer is starting to wind down, so I am back. Question mark, ... I'm going to be doing part-time, so we're not going to get back to the weekly uploads, but I do have a few things in the queue, so we'll probably see a short burst of uploads, and then like a couple week break, and then another couple uploads, those kinds of things. But I was away longer than I said I would be. Very sorry about that. But I've been having a great summer, been spending a lot of time with the wife, been going out, doing a lot of fun stuff, getting back out into the world after everything, and working through that. So we're going to get into today's video because you're probably sick of just, Strom goes blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Show me the redstone. So this video is definitely for after you have built your wither skeleton farm, after you have like some piglin bartering up for some soul sand and you're ready to spawn a whole bunch of withers, get the server set with a bunch of beacons. You want to cover your whole area in beacons, just beacon drip. What do cool kids say these days? Is drip still cool? I don't know. Tons of beacons. We're going to get tons of beacons. Now, before we get into this, so this is going to be very easy. We are going to use the main end island, as you can see here. We're going to use that portal in the bedrock. This is going to be an AFK-able killer, so you can turn it on, go take a nap, make a sandwich, go to bed, clean your keyboard, you filthy nerds. But the rates of this are going to be a little on the possible disappointing side. You may have seen the thumbnail. There are wither killers out there that can get up to 4,500 per hour. Now, I definitely recommend checking out YouTube on that. Just do a quick YouTube search for wither killer. You're going to see a bunch of designs. The key thing, though, is that you have to find specific bedrock formations, or you have to destroy parts of the main end island's portal and the bedrock in order to do it. Well, some servers won't let you break bedrock. Especially if you want to keep respawning the dragon, that's going to be a problem, or you don't want to spend hours searching for it. So what we're going to do here is no bedrock breaking, no portal breaking. This should theoretically work on any client you have, whether you're on, a fabric server or a single player with no mods or or other server types. Let's get into this. Before we do, of course, down the video description is going to be a world download. I'm also going to include a schematic because this is such a small build and a lot of people have been requesting schematics. I'm going to try and do that more often, especially in these smaller builds. The larger videos where we have, 25 different builds or 3 levels with a bunch of different options probably won't still have the schematics, but I'll try and do it more for these smaller ones, try and accommodate. So let's get to it. As you can see here, what we have is we have a single player in here that is spawning and killing withers for us. So what we're doing is we're getting the wither to get spawned, and then we have the player getting pushed over in the water stream, killing him. So in this case, I'm using a bot. There's no reason you can't do this with a player, but you will need an auto clicker in order to be able to do so. And then once the wither is killed, we can see we push soul sand back in place in order to be able to spawn those and then spit out wither skulls from those dispensers right below. Now, I do have both in the schematic and the world download, you're going to see these signs with these instructions here, but I am going to quick walk through those. First thing you want to do is set your beacons. So unfortunately, the wither does do some damage when it actually gets spawned, so we're going to need some beacons, and that can be anywhere. Just don't build it right above the portal, because then the dragon, if someone respawns, will just come down and wipe out your beacon. You're going to have a bad time. So we have 4 beacons over here. We have our strength 2 so that we can kill it faster. We have our resistance 2 so we take less damage when the wither spawns. We have our haste 2 so we can attack faster. And then finally we have our regen as well. And we're definitely going to want that because the player is going to be taking damage from wither spawning and from starvation. Now, in order for the regen to be able to keep up with both the damage from starvation and the damage from the wither spawning, you need to make sure that you have good armor on. So you need to have a full set of armor, no elytra on there, with prot 4 and mending, preferably unbreaking 3 as well, because then you're going to use up less of the XP that the wither drops in order to mend them. And then you need your mending and smite 5 sword again, preferably with unbreaking 3. Next, when this is turned off, you have either your bot or your player come stand in the water stream. It's going to be pushing you over to this side. You're going to press your body or the bot's body right up against the chain's hitbox. So just walk into the chains until you can't walk anymore. We have blocks above so you won't walk over it, but you need to be touching that chain. The reason being is because we need to get, well, we don't have to worry about getting close enough to place the blocks. We can do that. But the attack range on the Wither is such a pain with the angle that we have to look at. You just need it at that distance. If you use fences here, the fence is actually just slightly wider, and you cannot reach the Wither and kill it. And then you have to wait for it to suffocate, and you go down to 11 stars per hour. 11. Not great. I'm going ahead and stop the bot so we can do this next one. This is how you would be starting it. So again, either bot or player, whichever way you're doing it. You're going to place one soul sand against the lime concrete block. So right up against here. Then you need to look at the front of that soul sand block that's facing the player, the top middle of it. So I'm going to zoom in here. So this face right here that's facing the player, this side, we want to look at these blocks or pixels right here, right in between those, as high up as we can go. So like right there is good. Now, if you're a player, obviously you just stand and look at it and then take your hand off the mouse. If we're doing it with carpet bots, I'm going to look at this bot, /player, killer, look at, and then tab, and I can get him looking right at that spot. We need this very top pixel as high up as we can go so that we can place both our blocks here, but then once again, be able to come over here and actually hit the Wither with our sword. Next up, we actually start it. So if you're not using carpet bots and you're using an auto clicker, now's the time when you have it left click every 0.55 seconds. So 11 game ticks, that is 11 out of 20. If you're using a carpet bot, you can just use the command. There we go. He's going to start his attack. Now he's not going to break that because it's going to keep resetting. And then we need to do our use continuous. Again, if that's using carpet, or you just hold down your right mouse button if you're using an auto clicker or put a weight on it or something like that. So player killer use continuous. As soon as you do that, he's going to start placing his soul sand. When that's done, it's going to actually then spawn in the Wither, switch the direction of the water, push him over, get ready to start killing it. Once he's dead, the nether star dropping into this hopper minecart, make sure you don't forget that, is going to kick everything off. There's a comparator right behind here reading that hopper. So make sure that hopper doesn't change directions. It's a hopper going into a chest, not a hopper going to a hopper. Otherwise, this comparator won't read it. That will then push these pieces of soul sand back up so that they can then go in there and get moved over. That way we're not wasting soul sand. But then these get pulled down out of the way, as we'll see in a minute when it's time to spawn the Wither so that we have the proper shape for a Wither. So this is all being kicked off by that soul sand getting pushed in front of the observer. We are also dispensing 4 soul sand per Wither to the player so that you can keep that going there, because as you can see here, you have a sword in your main hand and the soul sand in the offhand. We've got to keep that soul sand restocked. So each time it kicks off 2, and then when we send it back this way, it kicks off another 2, as we saw there, for a total of 4. We also have this trapdoor so that it pushes him again just up a little bit, just enough to get that distance that he needs to reach that Wither. And now you're ready to leave it running. Another couple notes before you start up. So don't forget about that hopper minecart. Otherwise, it's not going to collect the star. It's not going to kick off to the next step. Whatever. You can use either powdered snow or a cobweb in this spot. It does not matter whichever one you have access to if you're doing this early game. However, the idea of a Wither killer where you have tons of skulls available is not an early game. So I take that all. Be sure to edit this part out. I will definitely not leave this part in the video. 100% not going to be in the final video. No one on YouTube will be seeing this part where I said early game and have a double chest of Wither skulls. You're also going to want to make sure that you prime the dispensers ahead of time. So the dispensers down here that are shooting Wither skeleton skulls out, you can see there's actually a little dropper tower that ends up feeding them. So we have to actually get that primed. Otherwise, the first time, it's not going to send those out. I would just recommend, again, we're talking having tons of skulls, just putting a stack in each of these dispensers, and then you'll be ready to keep up with it. You can fill up all these droppers if you want to. That's up to you. Again, this one will get fed by the hoppers, but this layer as well. So you will notice right here that these pistons are not pushing this off, even though it's powered. That's because the speed that a player can place, again, this is not using fast place, so this is just normal vanilla Minecraft placing speed. That's actually going to end up butting this once that reaches its push limit, because we have a furnace right here behind the observer, so it can't get pushed. So it gets stopped, and then this stays butted. All we do once this is done and it's ready to kick off another cycle is we then just send a signal to this note block under the piston, which that note block then sends out a block update, tells this piston it's butted, it moves on. Now, I did say that you can actually reuse the portal. You don't have to break anything. You can summon the dragon. It's not going to break the machine either when you do summon the dragon. Only caveat is you cannot spawn them both in at the same time. If you have a wither spawn in while you're trying to spawn in the dragon with the crystals, the wither spawning right now would blow up the crystals and cancel that process with the dragon. So you as the player would just stop what you're doing, exit out of here. If you have a carpet bot, you could just pause it, or I'm just going to throw like a chain right here to stop him from being able to place the next set of soul sand. And I am going to spawn in the dragon, and we're going to see that it's not going to ruin anything on the machine. So I'll spawn in the dragon, and then I'll restart the wither killer. We can see while the portal is on fire, it is still functional. I'm going to break that chain. We're going to see it go back in operation. But I do not recommend spawning both of these at the same time. So having a dragon in while the wither is spawning. I'm just going to do this command to kill the dragon. Now, technically that wither looks like he's touching the portal. He shouldn't go through, but you know what? On other types of servers, I wouldn't trust it. I just would recommend not running the wither killer while there's a dragon spawned in, but you absolutely can keep running this after the dragon has been summoned in. Doesn't ruin anything to keep that portal as it is. And that was kind of the whole point of this. Is I saw a lot of people saying that of like, yeah, I want a wither. I don't want to search for bedrock formations for like 20 hours. And this one requires bedrock breaking. I'll have to break the portal that's disabled on my server, or the admins would kick me off if I did that. Well, I guess my option is to just cheese it manually under the portal and get, back to like 11 per hour. So that's going to be it. Again, make sure that you have your armor on there so the player doesn't die. At first, before they're taking starvation damage, everything's going to see fine. But then eventually the starvation damage plus the wither damage can't keep up with the regen. So just a thing to keep an eye on. And again, remember the use case for this. This is only 170 per hour. This is going to be for that use case where you don't want to break bedrock or portals. So definitely go online, check out the other ones if you want to see what's out there, because there are other options to do this even faster. You can spawn enough of them to start entity criming withers, and that's how you're actually killing them. You're just spawning wither after wither after wither. It's ridiculous. But thanks for hanging in there while I've been on break. I've been having a blast in my personal life. It has been great. And remember, as always, no matter what is going on with you right now, if you're not okay, it's okay not to be okay. Whether it's personal stuff, other people in your life, whatever you got going on, it's okay not to be okay. Keep your chin up. Things will get better, I promise you. But in the meantime, it's okay not to be okay. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.